Tiffany Stratton has finally explained herself for the off-script moment with Charlotte Flair, so we'll see all the details there. We'll also check out a fun Jey Uso theory, Roman Reigns, and more. Starting things off with the latest developments for the Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair off-script moment from SmackDown, because not only do you have new comments from Tiffany, but there's also new reports on who went off-script first and the order of the chaotic events. According to new reports, Tiffany Stratton's line about calling Charlotte Flair a Nepo baby was scripted and planned. But what was not scripted was Charlotte cutting Tiffany off and correcting her by saying she's actually the #1 Nepo queen. So technically speaking, Charlotte Flair appears to be the first one that started to take the segment off script and off the rails. Charlotte went off script and tried to take the blow away from Tiffany's jab, and it looks like that's the exact moment where things got a little wonky. Charlotte Flair continued to go off script by making fun of Tiffany's voice, which is something that once again was nowhere near the script, and was something that Charlotte came up with on the fly. And it looks like all of Charlotte's off-script jabs eventually boiled up inside of Tiffany Stratton and led her to fight back her own off-script jabs. Reports claim that the light mentions of the divorces was in the script and planned, but the exact way Tiffany phrased it was not in the script, and that was an off-script spin to the original plan. And then of course the Ludwig line was another off-script line and just a last swing of desperation. Reports even claim that a lot of people compared the Ludwig line by Charlotte to a boxer trying to swing after getting completely knocked out, and that's the perfect comparison. So that appears to be the order of events of this segment. Charlotte started to take it off the rails with the Nepo Queen line and making fun of Tiffany's voice. So Tiffany had no other choice but to fight back with that big blow about being alone with 3 divorces. Like we've covered before, a lot of people have a lot of different things to say about this segment, but one thing is for certain, and that's the fact that this segment has brought the feud and storyline to life. There's a lot of fans that are so interested now to see what the final few weeks of build-up looks like for these two, and a lot of people that are now extremely invested in seeing the outcome at WrestleMania 41. Tiffany Stratton was recently a guest on the Babyfaces podcast and gave her exact reaction of the off-script moment with Charlotte Flair. Tiffany had this to say, quote, "Being so new into this business and being so new as champion, I don't think she really expected me to stand up to her, and I don't think she expected me to almost clap back. All I have to say is, it's live TV, stakes are high, we're going into WrestleMania, I have the title, I want to keep the title, I'm going to pull out every stop that I can, and people want to see our match. I think we did a very good job of getting people wanting to see our match and invested in our story. Now, I'm ready to put on the best women's match ever and ready to go to war." End quote. And Tiffany makes a lot of sense there. She thinks Charlotte was expecting her just to stand there and let Charlotte go off and say whatever she wants. So Tiffany had to match that same energy and fire back, or else it was going to be another replay of the interview from a few weeks back where Charlotte verbally knocked out Tiffany. So this time around, Charlotte got the big early blows, but Tiffany got the knockout. So Tiffany's mentality is right. Charlotte is the veteran, one of the greatest superstars of all time. But you can't let anyone just walk over you to the road to WrestleMania, especially not while you are the defending champion. So you gotta stand up for yourself and fight back, and that's what Tiffany did. If Charlotte would have just stayed on track, maybe Tiffany would have followed her. But if Tiffany is going to go off the rails, at least she knows now that Tiffany has no issue following off the rails and taking it there too. So after a questionable start to the feud, things are definitely turning around, and fan intrigue for the feud is at an all-time high right now. There's a pretty cool fan theory going around right now that connects every individual story that's happening within the world of the original bloodline. And this theory basically goes back to some of the things Jey told Roman back around last year's Survivor Series. Jey was not happy at first about originally reuniting with Roman and Jimmy, but Jey eventually agreed to reunite with them, but with a very small leash on the entire situation. Jey made it clear that one little sign of disrespect or any indication of the old Roman, and he's out of there, and he's never talking to them again. So that was the main thing Jey was holding on to. He wanted to see proof that Roman was a changed man, or else he was going to have a big problem with Roman. Roman Reigns was on his best behavior during those weeks building up to Survivor Series, but the version of Roman we've been seeing on the road to WrestleMania 41 has been a bit more edgy and definitely appearing more in the gray area at certain times. It was a moment we mentioned before, but like when Roman was speaking about Paul Heyman during Punk's favor reveal. Roman was speaking very arrogantly, taking full credit for Heyman's success and how Heyman would be nothing without him. That sounds like more like the old tribal chief speaking, and not the new changed man that Jey wants to see. Another indication of potential lack of care and disrespect from Roman is something that's connected to what happened to Jey Uso a few weeks back. Jimmy was absolutely destroyed by Gunther, but Roman did not call in to check on how Jimmy was doing, or even ask Jey if he needed any type of help. It's not like Jey would have accepted it. Obviously, Jey wants to do everything on his own, but still, not even the gesture or offer was presented by Roman. So, between treating Paul Heyman a bit strange and not showing any care for what happened to Jey Uso, is Roman truly reverting back to his previous extreme narcissistic behavior? Is Roman breaking the promise that he made to Jey about being a better person and treating the individuals around him with care and appreciation? It surely looks like Roman is more than halfway through breaking that promise at the moment. So that's why fans are discussing the possibility of seeing another Jey and Roman match down the line that will all stem from Roman treating Paul Heyman and not caring for Jey Uso. It's a fun idea that ties back to the conversation between Roman and Jey in the weeks before Survivor Series, but it would also be their fourth one-on-one meeting over the last few years. So you got to be a little careful there because you definitely don't want to overdo the matchup. But still, fans are putting these story pieces together and feeling like Jey should feel some type of way towards Roman because the nature of these recent events, and that part does seem to make sense. So we'll have to see if Jey and Roman could ever cross paths again, and what would they say to each other. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.